Welcome everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Gunner Fan TV. Listen, guys, before I start the video, all I ask is that you smash that like button down there. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. Really appreciate the support, guys. Let's keep this going. Let's get into the game. Today, Arsenal played West Ham at home, and we came out with the victory today. 2 goals against a struggling West Ham United. New manager, didn't mean anything to us. We were still able to pull out the win and get the 3 points, which brought us to the top of the table. Let's look at the individual performances. Or before we look into the individual performances, let's look at the way Mikel Arteta started the game with the starting lineup that he put out today. The intent, from what I could see, was to go out there with an attacking team in order to create opportunities and outscore this West Ham team today. I don't think that was executed well. Nothing against Mikel Arteta. I think this was more on the players and maybe the system to a lesser extent. But for that amount of attacking players he had on the field for roughly 30 minutes into the game before Odegaard got injured, I felt like we were supposed to create more opportunities, and I didn't really see that. With a starting three midfield, or with the starting three midfielders in that of Odegaard, Eze, and Rice, I feel like we should have created more opportunities in the first half, and we didn't. Unfortunately, Odegaard came off. We had to make a change, and I thought Mikel would, still push for that creativeness, still push for us scoring more goals. But he went ahead and he went negative, in my opinion. He went ahead and he put on the change with Zubermende, and Zubermende came in. And for me, Zubermende is he's a holding midfielder. He's a defensive minded midfielder, right? For me, that change should have been Ethan. If you're going to replace Odegaard, then the one for one swap for me would have been Ethan at that point. He didn't, and it changed the whole dynamic of the game for me. He went more negative. I felt like if he continued, if Odegaard had stayed on the field, if he wasn't injured, I felt like we would have probably scored more goals in that second half because he wasn't playing bad. He was playing well. He was moving the ball around, you know, but him coming off was very unfortunate. But I don't think Mikel continued to build on that, right? Him putting in Zubimendi was more of a negative change, and it didn't really help the attacking intent that he started out the game with by having those attacking players on the field initially. Right. The only issue I had at the starting lineup was Trossard. I would have probably started Martinelli because, out of the two, which to be honest, for me, none of them, they're not good enough to start on that left side for me, to be honest. But if I had to choose one to start, I would have probably chose Martinelli because Trossard he's just not good, man. He's just not good enough starting. Martinelli probably would have been better starting in that position, in my opinion. But nevertheless, that team should have been beating West Ham regardless, right? The position they're in, we should have been going out there dominating that team and scoring tons of goals. But as I said, Arteta just nullified the whole attack by putting in Zimmerman. So now you have two holding midfielders, two sixes, and he pushed Rice to the left eight. And as we knew from him putting Zimmerman on, we knew things were gonna be just so boring. We knew we weren't gonna see much attacking opportunities. It wasn't gonna be any through balls played to Yakares really, and he was feeding off scraps again. But we'll touch on that some more. But I wasn't pleased with the performance. I was pleased with the win. You'll take a win any day because getting 3 points is always important. Doesn't matter if it's ugly, if it's scrappy. A win is a win. You know my saying. I'll take an ugly win any day over a pretty loss. And we did win, and it wasn't exciting for me. It was kind of boring, but we came out with the win. First goal created by Eze, in a sense. Eze got a ball through there. I forgot who played that ball. I think it was Zubermende who played that ball to him. I think it was, but good shot, forced a save from the keeper, and Rice was able to finish that. And from then on, we just, we got quiet. The game was just, kind of left to right. um, until the second half when Timber, great turn by Timber, and he was able to get that penalty. Now, if you watch my stream, my watch along, I wasn't excited when Saka got the ball, to be honest, because I believe that we have a striker and we need to see goals from the striker. And I felt that in that point, in that time of the game, right, in that moment, Saka should have just given it to Gyökeres. And I felt a way about that. I felt like you want your striker to get goals. He needs to get numbers on the board. He's struggling now getting goals, and I get it. He has to earn it, but just give it to your striker. It helps build that confidence. Takes that pressure off him. And he didn't. Good finish by Saka, taking nothing away, but I wasn't excited. I would have rather him giving, the penalty to Gyökeres. Nevertheless, he finished it. Great finish. We were able to, in my opinion, at that point, I knew it was secure because West Ham didn't really do anything, throughout that game. They didn't really cause any issues, a few half chances, but I knew once we got that second goal, the game was probably over. But the overall performance for me, the back four was solid as usual. That's never the issue. The issue is always the attacking third, and I don't think we didn't attack enough in that game. And that's just a frustration for me, knowing the ability and the quality that we have on the field, and we're just not executing. We just look like a boring mid-table team. When teams come to the Emirates, they need to learn a lesson, bro. They need to learn a lesson in football. Whenever you come to the Emirates playing this Arsenal, this current Arsenal teams should come here in fear. And I don't think this performance struck any fear in any team coming to the Emirates, knowing that they're going to be well outplayed, well outscored. This West Ham team should be going home with like six in the bag, bro, feeling demoralized completely. You know what I mean? And anybody else coming after this should also feel nervous and scared and intimidated coming into the Emirates. But I don't feel like we did that today. And that goes down to that management, that in-game management after Odegaard got injured. You know what I mean? If this was what you wanted your team to go out and play attacking football because that's why you started that three in the middle. So what if Odegaard got injured? I don't want him to be injured, but what I'm saying is that so what if he gets injured? Don't change it. Just use Waneri. He could do the same job. You know what I'm saying? And again, Gyökeres are feeding off scraps again as a result of this. Nothing played through to him. It was just a difficult night again for Gyökeres, bro. And they're gonna start asking questions, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're not scoring at the moment, and you're brought in to score goals, and you're not scoring. So fans are going to start having questions. Other players are going to start looking at you. Havertz is close to being back. One more month and he should be back. You know, I don't see the they're not playing these passes through the channels for him. I saw Marino play a nice ball to Martinelli. Why can't Gyökeres get the opportunity? Why can't they play those type of passes through to Gyökeres? I didn't see that, and I saw him making runs. He's just fighting every single game. But for me, it was boring. I didn't enjoy it. I mean, that's my opinion. I don't know what you guys think. I felt like with that team that we had out there, we should have created way more opportunities, way more shots, scored more goals. Didn't see that. But you know what? At the end of the day, we're top of the league right now. Liverpool lost against Chelsea, and we go into the international break a point above Liverpool, which really doesn't mean anything at this point. 7 games played, we have a long way to go. But overall, for me, the performance wasn't great, but we'll take the win. But we need to improve. And I'm looking at Liverpool and I'm looking at Chelsea and these other teams, bro. We could win the league. None of these teams are way better than us. They're not. I don't even see a team that's really better than us, to be honest. They're not going to outclass us in any department. Our defense is solid. We have good midfielders, and we just need to start scoring more goals. But tell me what you think, guys. I appreciate you coming in. Appreciate you locking in. On your way out, please hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.